shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm pleased to be joined by head coach Michael Duff. We'll start again with Louis Reynolds from BBC Radio Leeds.
Michael, nice to see you again. If we start on team news front, and can I ask you about Callum Marshall? How's he after Saturday?
Cal won't be available. He's still pretty uncomfortable. So he's just got a bang right on his chest plate. So it's quite sore. So he won't be available for tomorrow. I don't think it's anything more than just a bit of bruising.
Yeah. So time frame wise, you're not too worried?
No. We don't think it's anything too bad.
Any other fresh injury concerns at all? No
fresh injuries. I think Lasse Sorensen will come into the squad. We'll look to try and get him minutes at some point. If it plays out the way we want it to play out. But no, it's good to have him back. Redinho's playing for the B team tomorrow, so that's his first minutes since the Harrogate pre-season game. So yeah, that's two positives.
When we look at tomorrow's game, I know it's a change of competition, but the focus, the aim will remain the same. Do you still look at it, though, in Lasse's case and maybe some others, it is a chance to give those minutes? Yeah,
we're in a real thick run at the minute. Well, at the start of a real Saturday, Tuesday. So it's trying to get the balance and act of looking after people, giving people opportunities, but winning. You know, we're building a little bit of momentum, and we don't want to give it up. Ian and Bolton have always taken this competition pretty seriously. They didn't play at the weekend, so I'd imagine they'll be quite strong. So yeah, it's trying to find the right blend.
Does it help in some way that you've already gone there and had quite an impressive win when you're preparing for it?
I don't think so. No, I think it's they're a different team now to what they were then. They're obviously on a bit of a dip at that point, which we've been on as well this season. So whenever you go to Bolton at this level, it's a tough game. They play good football. They've got some good players. They've been in and around it for the same manager for a long time. So there's a real clear identity in the way they want it to look. So no, I think it will be, as it always is when you go there, a tough game.
I remember after the game at Bolton, and some of the Bolton fans, some of the talk was around Ian Everett's position. They've stuck with him, and now they're only a couple of points off the top six. It shows that sometimes perseverance, especially in those early stages of the season, is needed, isn't it?
It's the modern world. People want everything yesterday, and it gets blown up a little bit. You know, you look at Ian's record. You know, I remember playing against Bolton when I was at Cheltenham in League Two. And he got them out of the league then, and they've been competitive and they've got better year on year. I think they thought they missed an opportunity last year with the playoffs, obviously with a disappointing performance in the final. They were in the playoffs the year before that. So, I think it's just... I think Ian's experienced enough to know that he doesn't need me to tell him that he's a good manager. His record tells you that. And sometimes you become a victim of your own success, because people just assume that you're just naturally going to get better year on year. Well, there's quite a few other teams trying to do exactly the same thing. So, no, I think it's there's always, in every league, there's always 2 or 3 managers under pressure, and it just goes in cycles. And I think he's got enough credit in the bank at that football club that a little bit of a dicky run, I think he deserves a little bit of patience.
Do you ever talk to each other? I know you'll have friends in the game who are in management. When you are going through that period and you might be under a bit of pressure, do you seek advice from each other? Do you pick up the phone?
Well, there's people I speak to, yeah. Just as general, really. It's not, I've lost a game, you're looking for some counselling. But you spend a lot of time on the road, so you kill a lot of that time by talking. And sometimes it's just chewing the fat, sometimes you're asking advice, or they're asking you for advice. So it's just sharing experiences that you've had, good and bad.
We've had the conversation many times about the EFL Trophy, especially in the group stages. Now we're at the knockout stage of the competition, a potential Wembley final getting a little bit closer. Does it feel like the competition really kicks into action at this stage?
I don't know. I'd imagine it will still be pretty a low attendance, I'd imagine. But we've said to the players, we don't want to get to a point where we have to start getting up for this game and not for that game. It's when you cross the right line, you put a Huddersfield badge on. This is what we want to represent. And it's at the group stages actually helped us get on a run. You know, we went really, really strong in the Barnsley game, just because of the timing of the games with international breaks and things. The first game we went really young because it was in the midst of a run like we're going into now in terms of bodies and games and so does it feel? They all know the carrot at the end of it, but Bolton away is probably as tough a place as you can go to get any further in the competition.
You say about the busy schedule, Michael. December's probably one of the busiest points of the season, isn't it? Do you enjoy this kind of Saturday, Tuesday, and it being constant in your face and having to go again every other day?
It's difficult. It's tough because you're trying to prep. You want to prepare for every game properly, and sometimes not that you don't prepare properly, but it's such a quick turnaround. From a playing point, players love it because they don't train. You know, it's play, rest, recover, play, rest, recover. Slightly different when you're on my side of the fence when you're trying to prep for that game. You've got an eye on that one in the corner, then you've got to watch other teams get to watch 2 or 3 games of Lincoln before this game tonight, and it's tough, but it's the job. It's not an easy job. Does
it make you miss playing that little bit more?
With my knee at the minute, I don't miss playing. You know, I knew I'd retired when I didn't get that feeling that I wish I was on the pitch anymore. Yeah. So it's just I don't really think like that anymore, to be honest. It's just lots of games come in. We're on a decent run, so that it's enjoyable at the minute. It can quickly go the other way though.
One of the decisions you're going to have to make soon is in your goalkeeping department. Just how impressed have you been with Jacob filling in for Lee at the moment? And Lee might have a bit of a job getting back into that position, mightn't he?
Yeah, we're blessed in that department. You know, Chris Maxwell as well is a really good goalkeeper with loads of experience. So that's what you want. You want tough decisions to make. You know, you've got Radinho Bolton coming in. You know, Nigel Longwink was on the bench on Saturday. So we're in certain areas of the pitch we've got lots of quality. So it's funny how football sometimes you don't worry about it too much because Lee isn't ready yet, and it's not a decision I have to make yet. When we we'll make what we think is the right one.
How do you go about communicating those decisions with your players when you have a tough decision like that to make?
Tell them the truth. You know, I think the players have realised now that I'm quite happy to have a conversation. They're quite happy to come and knock on the door, but don't knock on the door if you only want to hear one answer. And sometimes they agree with me, sometimes they don't. We just ask that they do it respectfully, show the disappointment properly by training properly and supporting the teammates, and we haven't had a problem with that. So yeah, if and when, like I said, there might not be a decision to make. If Chappie absolutely rips it up and Lee doesn't get fit, or you don't know what happens. So, you know, Lee is the #1 goalkeeper at the football club. He has been for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So, but Chappie's definitely done himself no harm. You know, he's a really inexperienced goalkeeper, and there's lots of question marks. So is he good enough? Is he not good enough? And I think he's proved he's good enough, which that's all he can do.
I know a big thing for you when you came into the club, and you said by no means it was a quick fix. It was changing the mentality, turning the mood around. We were speaking to Danny Ward earlier, and he says it feels positive. He can tell a difference from the last couple of seasons. Are you starting to see those differences?
I think you see the difference. I see the differences in we were finding ways to lose earlier in the season. I think Saturday's another little marker that they score from a set play, we go down the other end and score. Whereas when we've suffered sort of adversity earlier in the season, we didn't fall apart, but we've just turned into a team of individuals right in front of your eyes, whether it's an own goal or a bad decision or an injury. I think that's just another benchmark, really, that because we've watched their goal back and there's not a lot we can do.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's in the zone men are doing the right jobs. You know, Leesy's man Flint is 6'7". Leezy has a bit of a slip. Chappie parries it a little bit, and David Kasuma can't get any tighter to his man. He's literally inside his shirt, but he manages to get a shot off. So sometimes you've got to hold your hand up and go, it's a good goal from them. We've looked really good at set plays, and it wasn't people switching off and making mistakes. Sometimes you've got to credit the opposition, but for us to go, right, reset, and go down the other end and score, I think that's a positive sign in terms of shifting mentality.
You said at the start of your answer there, a few weeks back, you were maybe finding different ways to lose. At the moment, it feels you're finding different ways to win. Ultimately, that's the sign of a successful team, isn't it?
Yeah, we know. We think there's a lot more to come from the team. We've had a lot of injuries, which are starting to come back fit. There's a bit of trust now. And this is the bit that takes time. We said it right at the very start. There's been a lot of change in the football club, and I'm just another manager that comes in, and from the players' point of view, it's like, well, here's another one. What's he going to say? So they need to hopefully earn their trust in terms of the way we are as a staff, because we've been pretty consistent, win, lose or draw. And we've had some bad games, and it's not, we've fallen out with them a couple of times. But there's always been a reason. I'm not one of them that just comes in and vents for no reason. If we are venting, there's a reason behind it, because everything we do for a reason. So whether that's a training session or we're taking them off feet or whatever we do, whenever the players go, why are we doing that, there'll always be an answer. It's not because we can't think of anything else to do. It's not just 5 asides today because we can't be bothered to plan a training session. So yeah, it's that consistency that we're looking for.
Thanks for your time. Good luck for tomorrow.
Cheers, Lee.
Cheers, Lou. We'll just come to Stephen Chicken on Zoom from We Are Terriers.
Hi, Michael. It does feel like there's a lot more, and we saw it on Saturday, saw it against Wigan last week as well, that resilience in the side. It feels like that sort of started after Tamworth. Do you feel like that was sort of the final reminder they needed? Well, hopefully the final reminder, but as it stands, the last reminder they had that they needed to keep that on. Do you think they took that on board?
I think the results tell you that they took the information on board. We were on a fairly decent run before that Tamworth game, but it exposed that there was still a soft underbelly in there. And we will lose games of football between now and the end of the season, absolutely no doubt about that. But it's the way that we lost that game, and it exposed quite a bit that the players might not be as good as what they think they are if they don't run around. If you run around and win a tackle and win a header, it gives yourself half a chance. So, that team that got beat by Tamworth, I think 10 of that 11 were playing in the Championship last year for this club. So it just goes to show you that your mentality has to be right, your physicality has to be right, because it's hard to win a game. So it was a wake-up call. We'll be apologising for that result for a long time. But one thing they have done, the apologies in the results afterwards, they've shown that they do care. They've shown that it was embarrassing, they were embarrassed, and it's been a really positive reaction.
Yeah, I'm thinking specifically of things like, against Crawley, you've gone behind twice and fought back twice. You've conceded equalisers and then scored again, which this group of players as well hadn't done for a long time. There's just little things like that seem to be coming in. It must be good to be ticking off those kinds of milestones.
Yeah, these are all things you're looking at. We don't want to concede a goal, but the next one is, can we get a last-minute winner? Can we come from behind and win? So there's lots of things that you can still tick off. You look at the teams at the top of the league and they score 95th minute winners or equalisers and stuff. We've not got to that point yet. But I think, and it sounds boring because I've got so many of these things to do every 3-4 weeks. You're saying the same things, but the messages are the same. It's behaviours in training. It's daily habits that they've become a habit. So when you're playing on a Saturday, you're not having to think about it. It's in your subconscious mind that this is what I do when that happens. This is what I do when that happens. And unless you do that and live that every day, it's never going to become a habit. So hopefully the winning part of the results at the minute becomes a good habit.
That's all from me. Thank you.
Cheers, Steve. We'll just come to Liam Lockshaw last from the Yorkshire Coast. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, Michael. I'm just wondering, that team that adversity that your team went through. You obviously don't want to see, you'd preferred it to be otherwise, but I suppose in a way you've learnt a lot about them through that. It's been useful to see from that aspect, hasn't it?
Yeah, we said it during it. That bad run exposed a few things that we thought and exposed a few things we didn't know. So you're better off finding about the group early. No, did we want to go through that run? Absolutely not. But it shows the weakness, shows the things we needed to work on, and you're showing the players as well what did work, what didn't work, why you're successful there, why you're not successful there, what's the difference between that and that. And like I said, a lot of the messaging stayed the same. So we haven't, like I said to him last week, I said I've not become a better manager in the last 6 weeks. They haven't become better players in the last 6 weeks. There's been a shift in the way of their mentality and their behaviours during the week, and when you start winning games and you start fall on the right side of a victory, that's when hopefully you start getting a bit more buy-in from the players, which they've been great.
It's probably a satisfying aspect of your job is seeing the squad sort of come together and that sort of culture starting to grow, because they were obviously well documented. There were issues last season, previous managers speaking about the sort of spirit, etc., things like that. But they seem to be coming together.
And that's the most important bit, and that's the bit you're trying to drum into them in terms of there's been a lot of change. And one thing, obviously I'm aware of things that were said last year, but it was in a different league. We were at a different end of the table. But when we went through that, I think we lost 7 out of 8. I kept getting told. 5 out of 6 in the league. They didn't turn on each other. And I've said all along, we've got what I've questioned in terms of not his personality, but in terms of people looking after themselves, not each other. So, and I think that's a subconscious thing that you go into survival mode. You just protect yourself because there's change. There's just a different bloke with a manager's top on, saying a different messages, and you go into sort of survival mode where they've realised that they've got to help each other. And it might be, right, come on, we're going to the gym, or we're going to go and do some extras, or that's not good enough, or that's unacceptable. And it's those sort of standards and that togetherness that you need on the pitch. You need to be stood on the touch when you're lining up. It's a nice feeling knowing that the bloke in front of you and the bloke behind you, he's with me. It's a start, rather than a bit of adversity and everyone's noses are pointing in different directions, which is the hard part, because you've got 25 individual businesses, but they need each other. But it's competitive, so they need to push each other as well. So that's why they're all buzzwords, but it's true. It's in terms of culture and things like that. It does take time.
It's contributions from everywhere, isn't it? I mean, I know it's like Josh Ruffle coming on at the weekend, that sort of thing. Everyone's got to be ready and a role to play when called upon.
Exactly that, and we don't just train with 11 players. So they're all involved. They're all in the meetings. They're the same things expected of all of them, whether they're in or out of the team. That's where they've got to take their ego out of it for the benefit of the team. So we have a saying: we drive in, leave your ego at the reception, come and put your kit on, train, put your ego on when you drive out the door. But when we're here, we're all the same. No one's better than anyone else. No one's more important than anyone else. And if you can have that humility and put the team first, which is difficult sometimes, which I thought was another pleasing thing on Saturday. You're making subs, people just running off, people running on, not throwing their arms up in the air and saying, why are you taking me off? Me. It's no, you're making a decision. If you've got an issue with it, come and speak to me Monday, but I'm just trying to make a decision for the benefit of the team. The team wins on Saturday, so everyone's happy. And that's all I want. You want supporters to be happy, you want players to be happy, you want board to be happy, because it means the team's winning. And if the team are winning, I'm happy, obviously. So it's... And it's trying to get that mentality into everyone that you could be the best footballer in the world. You could line on Messi. You put him against Bolton tomorrow night. He ain't beating 11 people. I don't care how good he is. You need each other, and it always has to be put the team first.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about Danny Ward finally. I mean, he showed what he brings to the table in the game on Saturday. An experienced, good striker at this level. I mean, you got the best out of some senior ones at Barnsley. Devante Cole, and I remember James Norwood as well, sort of relighting the fires almost. And I suppose that experience will, come in handy, and it's probably there for Danny as well potentially. Yeah,
Wardy's just not been able to put his availability has been the problem, and it's just been a little niggle or an illness or a little niggle, so he's not been able to get a run. And then. you know, the Tamworth game's a perfect example. You put him in, you're like, go on then, and he's ill. You know, he's got to come off at half time because he felt ill 20 minutes before kick-off. So, and it's that sort of bad luck and that bad timing because everyone knows what he can do, and he's a very, very good footballer. He's a talented boy, you know, and I think he's one of them. He's a sport Billy. So by all accounts, he's good at everything he touches in terms of when it comes to sport, whether it's darts, golf, snooker, whatever. And yeah, natural ability he's got loads, and he's still got a bit of fire, which is the thing. That's what you saw Saturday because he knows he's not been available as often as what he wants, and he probably feels like he's probably undercooked a little bit or not been used enough through availability. That's all it is, nothing else.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Michael, as ever. Thank you.
Cheers, Alan. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll speak to you again shortly.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.